My name is Tanya and I was born and raised in England. During my adolescent years, I became an Islamist, and with my husband, we were trying to establish a caliphate. We moved around the world, found ourselves in Egypt and then Syria during the war. By this time, I was an agnostic. I decided to leave with my children because I didn't want to be a Muslim. We moved to America and I embraced American values. And now I'm learning about the Bible for the first time.
Go to 322.
And 322 of John, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Pages are so thin.
Yeah.
22.
Yep.
Got it.
It says, after Jesus and his disciples went into the Judean countryside and remained there with them and was baptizing, John also was baptizing at Aenon near Salim, because water was plentiful there, and people were coming and being baptized, for John had not yet been put in prison. Now a discussion arose between some of John's disciples and a Jew over purification, and they came...
Still on.
326 now.
Oh, I 326. Except this is 3. That's 4. Okay, maybe 390. Okay. Help me out.
You're just getting got by the thin pages.
Right, thank you.
So good.
A tab would be good. A tab.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have that. It's a little unfair.
You have a tab?
Yeah, I did. I
Well, you might have marked it there.
Yeah. But there's an app that's free for this exact Bible.
Okay, I'll look on my phone.
That's honestly how I do most of my Bible reading.
Yeah, and I have a tab upstairs. I can use that.
So John's disciples and a Jew over purification, verse 26, and they came to John and said to him, Rabbi, he who was with you across the Jordan, to whom you bore witness, look, he is baptizing and all are going to him. John answered, a person cannot receive even one thing unless it is given to him from heaven. You yourselves bear me witness that I said, I am not the Christ, but I have been sent before him. The one who has the bride is the bridegroom. The friend of the bridegroom who stands and hears him rejoices greatly at the bridegroom's voice. Therefore this joy of mine is complete. He must increase, but I must decrease. He who comes from above is above all. He who is of the earth belongs to the earth and speaks in an earthly way. He who comes from heaven is above all. He bears witness to what he has seen and heard, yet no one receives his testimony. Whoever receives his testimony sets his seal to this, that God is true. For he whom God has sent utters the words of God, for he gives the Spirit without measure. The Father loves the Son and has given all things into his hand. Whoever believes in the Son has eternal life. Whoever does not obey the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God remains on him. So again, we have the Trinitarian language here, right? We've got Father, Son, and Spirit in this verse, and the promise that whoever believes in the Son has eternal life.
Okay, I have to go over that one more time with you, just to catch it. So
Yeah.
Son, this is really important. God, Spirit. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yes, that is evidence for the Trinity.
Right. It's all there, right? And people may say, okay, well, there's not the exact words Trinity there. Okay, what does it mean then that the Son is above all? How can you say that about a prophet?
Yeah, it's talking about God,
Right.
who is himself the Son.
Yeah. So after this, Jesus goes to a village in a place called Samaria. I'm summarizing right now. I'm going to start reading from 4:7. Oh yeah, yours has maps. That's cool. And so Samaria is kind of like it's kind of about 1,000 years before, 600 years before this. They kind of became syncretistic, sort of half-breed Jews, right? They were part Jewish, part of the worldviews, and they had lots of sort of magicians and lots of other cultural influences in that. And the Jews didn't like them because they saw them as fundamentally compromised. Which there's a lot of people who are going to say, okay, Jews got monotheism in Babylon, but it actually makes no sense with its history because the Jews hate this other group that they have a long-standing feud with because of syncretism, right? So if they were just a syncretistic group that got their ideas from Babylon, why do they have this feud with this other syncretistic group? And so Jesus is in this and the Jews do not associate with Samaritans, right? So think of them like the Ahmadiyas.
Yeah, the Good Samaritan. He comes from Samaria.
Yeah.
They were good.
No. The reason he tells that story is to mess with people specifically, right? The reason he tells the story of the Good Samaritan is because the Jews hated the Samaritans.
I see.
Right. So it would be, so it would be the equivalent would be going into, say, Syria, and somebody asking, what do I have to do to be a good neighbor? And somebody told the story, well, there was an Israeli man who found a man wounded by the road and healed all his wounds, right? He's taking the most hated ethnic group and saying, here's your example. So it's not that the Samaritans have a good reputation, they have a bad reputation.
Yeah, or me saying a member of ISIS could have a good side.
Right. So when he's in this village, verse 7 says, a woman from Samaria came to draw water. And Jesus said to her, give me a drink, for his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, how is it that you, a Jew, ask for a drink from me, a woman of Samaria? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans. Jesus answered her, if you knew the gift of God, and who it is that is saying to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water. The woman said to him, sir, you have nothing to draw water with, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob? He gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did his sons and his livestock. Jesus said to her, everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks of the water that I will give him will never be thirsty again. The water that I will give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life. The woman said to him, sir, give me this water so that I will not be thirsty or have to come here to draw water. So Jesus said to her, go call your husband and come here. The woman answered to him, I have no husband. Jesus said to her, you are right in saying I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one you have now is not your husband. What you have said is true. The woman said to him, sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that in Jerusalem is the place where people ought to worship. So she's asking the question, okay, which direction is the proper direction to pray to, basically? Jesus said to her, woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. You worship what you do not know, we worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews. But the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. The woman said to him, I know that the Messiah is coming, he who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things. Jesus said to her, I who speak to you am he. So Jesus is talking to this woman who is a social outcast, who's at the well alone by herself, and he's having a conversation with her, and he tells her, he kind of offers her this water without price, and then she starts to realize there's something unique about him, and she wants to go to all these kind of petty external religious issues, and he kind of gets to the point. He doesn't deny the fact that he's Jewish, or the Jewish people bring the history of salvation, but he says the point is this: it's not in the point really isn't in the external religious rituals. What you need to worship God with is spirit. Doesn't matter how many external things you do, spirit and truth. You need to know the truth. You need to be filled with God's spirit, and that's what relationship with God looks like. So after this, again, I'm summarizing again here. Jesus heals several people miraculously by laying his hands on them, And then I'm going to read you a specific story in chapter 5, starting with verse 1.
John 5, verse 1. Oh, I see. Okay, got it.
After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool in Aramaic called Bethesda, which had 5 roof colonnades. In these lay a multitude of invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. Now, this is a kind of a side detail here, but this is clearly eyewitness information, right? It's very specific geographical information. The person who wrote this was there because after 70 AD, this was all gone. So somebody couldn't tour Israel and be like, okay, look at that thing. Everything was flattened at that point.
Oh.
But they have found the archaeology for this now, right? But if you went there in AD 80, you would not be able to find it. One man was there who had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be healed?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, and while I am going in, another steps down before me." Jesus said to him, "Get up, take up your bed and walk." And at once the man was healed, and he took up his bed and walked. Now that day was the Sabbath, so the Jews said to the man who had been healed, "It is the Sabbath, and it is not lawful for you to take up your bed." But he answered them, "The man who healed me, that man said to me, 'Take up your bed and walk.'" They asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take up your bed and walk'?" Now the man who had been healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had withdrawn because there was a crowd in the place. And afterward Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you are well. Sin no more, that nothing worse may happen to you." The man went away and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had healed him. And this is why the Jews were persecuting Jesus, because he was doing these things on the Sabbath. So again, they're missing the point here, but they're like, hey, you're not allowed to supernaturally heal sick people on the Sabbath. But Jesus responds in verse 17. Jesus answered them, "My Father is working until now, and I am working." This is, now here it is in verse 18. This is why the Jews were seeking all the more to kill him, because not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was even calling God his own Father, making himself
equal to God. But is that really making himself equal to God by calling God his Father?
in the sense that he's doing it, yes, because what he's doing is saying, because God works on the Sabbath,
yeah, he should work on the
I work on the Sabbath, right? So it's putting himself above the law.
Yeah.
And the only person above the law is God. Right.
So that's shirk for them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, really, of course. The Jewish people must have thought he was asking, what's the shirk for them? You mushrik.
Yeah. So Jesus said to them, Truly, truly I say to you, the Son can do nothing of his own accord, but only what he sees the Father doing. For whatever the Father does, that the Son does likewise. For the Father loves the Son, and shows him all that he himself is doing. And greater works than these will he show him, so that you may marvel. For as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, so also the Son gives life to whom he will. The Father judges no one, but has given all judgment to the Son, that all may honor the Son just as they honor the Father. Whoever does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life. He does not come into judgment, but has passed from death to life. Truly, truly, I say to you, the hour is coming and is now here, that the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who will hear will live. For as the Father has life in himself, so he has granted the Son also to have life in himself, and he has given him authority to execute judgment, because he is the Son of Man. Do not marvel at this, for an hour is coming when all who are in the tombs will hear his voice and come out, those who have done good to resurrection of life, and those who have done evil to the resurrection of judgment. So not only is he saying he's Lord of the Sabbath, he's also saying when everyone stands before God on Judgment Day, the person they face is Jesus. So he's just kind of blowing it past all shadow of a doubt what he's actually saying to them here, right? What does being the Son of God mean? That I'm adopted and a prophet? No. That I'm the judge, that I'm Lord of the Sabbath, that
Even Judgment Day, I've heard some Jewish people say they believe in reincarnation, and then I don't know, like, is that a belief from the Torah? No. Okay.
No, I'm honest. Like, I had a Orthodox Jew tell me that once, and I was like so surprised, but it's nowhere to be found in any of the Torah. It's something you have to add through.
It's uniquely Christian. Is the resurrection and the Day of Judgment? I mean, I know Islam took that idea, but had that idea come before Christianity? Like, was it a belief before? Was it David's belief?
There's kind of veiled references to it in the Psalms, but there's a book called the Book of Daniel, and in the Book of Daniel, which is I believe 600 years before Jesus, it says it's what it says is the dead will be raised, some to eternal life that will shine like the sun, and others to eternal shame. Right, so the Day of Judgment is something that's hinted at in the Old Testament and explicitly stated in a couple of places, but it's a much bigger theme in the New Testament. But it is there in the Jewish scriptures. It's just not as prominent a theme.
And is eternal life metaphorical or is it literal?
Literal.
And how do you know that?
We'll keep reading.
Okay.
So that's what this book is about, right? So the resurrection means, again, a physical rebirth of your body, right? Not some ethereal kind of existence in the spirit realm.